Hi, Fernando Joe here. Welcome to Life in the PI. I mentioned in my story earlier about a woman, a co-worker, a lady I worked with who had a medical emergency. One of the commenters said, in the Philippines, that woman wouldn't be alive today, and it's probably true. So something you have to be aware of if you're coming out here to the Philippines is that medical care, particularly emergency medical care, is not at the level that you would expect in the US, for instance. And especially once you get out into the province, in other words, when you start getting out into the countryside, I can't recommend the countryside for you if you've got any kind of a medical condition like a serious heart ailment. So one time I was staying in the Camotes Islands. The Camotes are islands between Cebu and Leyte, and they're kind of right in the middle of those two. So I was staying there with some friends, and we were pretty much out in the jungle. And we went one morning, when it was late, I woke up, it must have been 3 o'clock in the morning, I don't know what time it was. I was half asleep. Something was wrong. I didn't know what it was. At that time I didn't speak any Bisaya at all. So all these panic voices, they get in the truck goes. I don't know what happened. Well, the next morning I was going to go back to Cebu. I get in the truck, the gentleman drives by. It's a sitio, and a sitio is a very small little, you think of kind of like a clearing in the jungle. Again, they're talking to Bisaya. I don't know but something's wrong. People are upset. So finally we get to the wharf, and the gentleman with the truck, the guy I was staying with, he points to the bed of the truck. He says, "You see that? That's a blood stain." And then he started explaining to me what had happened that night. One of the women in that sitio was pregnant, had gone into labor. She's trying to give birth, and pretty soon they realize she's bleeding and something is wrong. They need help. So they're frantic. They somehow get to this house where I was staying at. They say, "Hey, look, we got money. Can you just get us to the hospital, get us to the wharf?" Well, he of course he says, "No, I don't need your money." So they get this woman, lay her in the bed of the truck. Again, in labor, she's got problems, she's bleeding. And he tells me at the hospital they don't have blood. So that, a hospital without blood is like a post office without mail or a cafeteria without food. At a hospital, as long as they've got blood, they can stabilize you. But there's no blood in the hospital. They're waiting to get this woman on a boat to Cebu, but the waves are too high and they can't launch a boat. So eventually the woman bleeds to death. And of course, that's why that morning when we went to that sitio, that the woman was dead. And her neighbors, her relatives, her husband, as far as I know. So it's just an example. And I told this story to another guy. He said, "Yeah, he knew somebody had a heart attack." Again, by the time they get you off that island and get you to Cebu City, it was too late. So something you need to think about. If you have a serious health condition, particularly a heart ailment, you've got to seriously consider coming to the Philippines. I recommend, at the least, you want to stay in one of the main cities. Cebu City, it's got some fine hospitals, but you really got to think twice before you get out into the province, because you're a long, long way from any level of medical care.